Okay, so this is a video that I actually hesitated to make, but then I figured, you know what, let me go ahead and just drop a video on it. This is my comparison video of the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra to, of course, the Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max. Let's go ahead and jump in. Now, first things first, this comparison is not going to be a one-for-one type of comparison because these two phones, despite being, flagship phones, are actually very, very different in so many ways, but they also do share quite a few similarities, right? So let's go ahead and start off with design, right? For this one, I'm just gonna say it's gonna be subjective. You're gonna like what you like, I'm gonna like what I like. First glance, I will give it to the S22 Ultra. In terms of looks, in terms of feel, I'm gonna give it to the iPhone 13 Pro Max here. A lot of people have wondered why I don't like the feel of the edge of the S22 Ultra. It's just because when you compare it to something like this, they're both metal, obviously, but when you compare it to something like this, the iPhone 13 Pro Max feels so premium. Like the sides here, it feels so good in the hand, and in terms of just grip, I get a lot more grip holding this phone than I do with this phone. Again, my take is that in terms of design, I like the way this one looks. I absolutely love it. Compared to this guy, yeah, this one on the other hand feels a lot more premium, right? So, but then again, that's just me. You of course get all of the usual suspects, right? So volume rocker, power button, you have the whole button on the iPhone there to turn the sound on and off. In terms of cameras, the look of this, beautiful. It's such a clean look. Now on the S22 Ultra here, you have a USB Type-C port as opposed to a Lightning port on the 13 Pro Max here. So in terms of data transfer, obviously it would go to this one. And in terms of just being a standard port that would fit the majority, if not all, of accessories that are being made for devices or for phones out there, obviously generally they would tend to fit, as opposed to the iPhone that will tend to fit only with proprietary accessories. Now when it comes down to speakers, I'm going to say that I prefer the sound quality on the iPhone here. You do have Face ID here to unlock the phone, which is wicked fast. It's something that takes, it's going to demand for you to get used to it, but once you do, you kind of pretty much get hooked, or you can just enter your passcode and you'll be good to go. On here, you do have Face Unlock, not as fast as secure as this one, but it works fairly well. And you have, of course, the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor under the display there, which works. It is wicked fast. I actually was quite surprised of how good it works. So you have that, and of course you also do have a way to unlock it using your passcode. Now let's go ahead and talk display here. They both are really big phones. I have large hands, and I say that all the time, but I do have fairly large hands, so I prefer large phones, right? So this one stands at 6.8 inches, and this one does stand at 6.7, I believe, inches. In terms of just the quality of the display, they both have beautiful displays, right? Just fantastic displays, but I am going to give it to the S22 Ultra because it's simply better. They're both really nice, but the display on the S22 Ultra is definitely better. By the way, if you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit both the like and the subscribe button there. I truly appreciate that. But anyway, so you do get a flat display on the iPhone versus a slightly curved display on the S22 Ultra, which, by the way, is the type of display that I prefer. But I know a lot of people prefer flat displays. That's why I said that this comparison video is going to be, fairly subjective. I'm sure people who like flat display would immediately go for the iPhone in terms of the display here. I know some people get upset about the punch hole there, but I take this a million times over this big notch that kind of eats through some of the screen real estate. So on the S22 Ultra, you do have a resolution of 1440 by 3088 versus the 13 Pro Max, where you have a 1284 by 2778. So that's that. And in terms of just user experience, when it comes down to watching videos, right? So if I'm watching videos or if I'm playing a game, obviously my user experience, not obviously, but I want to share that my user experience is better on the S22 Ultra as opposed to the 13 Pro Max here. In terms of just the way it looks, colors are a lot more saturated here. They're a lot more vibrant. It's very sharp on either one of these two, but things seem to just be a lot more vibrant on the S22 Ultra in terms of colors. And since we are talking entertainment, as you're watching movies, if you are using the actual speakers on the phone, I'm going to say in terms of volume, they're about the same. I don't know, I could be wrong, but it seems to be about the same. However, quality, I would give it to the iPhone. I don't know, I just prefer the sound quality on the iPhone 13 Pro Max here as opposed to the one coming out of the S22 Ultra. Now let's go ahead and talk cameras. Now, in terms of specs, this one is pretty easy. So it's 12 megapixels for all the three lenses that you see there. So the wide, the ultra wide, and the telephoto. So 12 megapixels each, and picture quality, top notch. Very, very, very good, and it's pretty much true to color, so it tends to be a lot more natural as opposed to what you would have on the S22 Ultra, but we'll get to it in a moment. So colors seem to be closer to what you have in real life, right? So when you take a picture with this, it actually looks pretty close to real life. When it comes down to videos, you know that this guy was the video king for however many months. Like, nothing could come close to what the 13 Pro Max could do. Then came along the S22 Ultra. When it comes down to video, pretty much on par with this, but here's the kicker. Things are a little bit more saturated and they pop a lot more. You know, the colors are a little bit more vibrant. And you do have a 108 megapixel wide. That is out of control. Then you have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then you have a 10 megapixel for the telephoto, right? Or 3x for the telephoto camera here. And on the front of this one, you do have a 40 megapixel front facing camera, which is also so very good. Now on the iPhone, you do have a 12 megapixel true depth camera there, and that is also very, very good. And I'm not a camera expert or anything like that, but I'm going to tell you that this guy just seems better. Well, at least, again, my humble take is that this guy is better. I prefer it because things seem to be brighter. Now, the one thing that I need to highlight with the S22 Ultra is that shutter lag, right? So it's been improved. It's been improved very well, but when you compare to what the iPhone does, the iPhone will still be able to knock down more pictures than the S22 Ultra, right? Because of the shutter lag. Samsung has pushed out an update for it. It fixed it partially, but it's still kind of there. Maybe not as much as before, but still kind of there. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk performance here. Now, the iPhone 13 Pro Max here is loaded with the A14 Bionic chip, which is a super powerful chip from Apple. It works very, very well, and that is coupled with 6 gigs of RAM, of course, which is still pretty good. I would have hoped for more, but you know, 6 gigs is what Apple is going to give you. You're still able to juggle multiple things at the same time, right? And you still have stuff running in the background, but that's still less RAM than you would get on the S22 Ultra. And of course, you have iOS running on here. It does work pretty well. My unit here is 128 gigs of internal storage, but I don't have the ability to expand that storage. And that's the case also with the S22 Ultra, right? The S22 Ultra, of course, is pushing Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and you do get 8 gigs of RAM in here, so a little bit more, so 2 gigs higher than what you have here. What I have here, no, actually, I take that back. You do get 12 gigs of RAM because what I have here is 256 gigs of internal storage, but if you go for the base model, you will get 8 gigs of RAM, just like I went for the base model here and I got 6 gigs of RAM. And by the way, when it comes down to price, this one will run you $1,100 as opposed to this one that will run you $1,200. When it comes down to performance, this one also just plows through things without any issues. And then you have, of course, Samsung DeX that will enable you to, you know, pretty much run like a laptop, right? Or a computer. You connect this to a computer and essentially you get a GUI that looks just like a desktop, and you'll be able to do that to work on a computer and be a lot more productive as opposed to what you would be here. So when it comes down to productivity, I would say you're a bit more productive on here as opposed to this one, as opposed to on here. But when it comes down to just raw power, of course, this one is ahead. So as far as your day-to-day stuff, you'll be fine with either one, right? These are flagship phones. These are kind of the creme de la creme. These are the best on the market right now. Now, the reality is this, like, besides just the raw power that the iPhone has here, when it comes down to value, what you'll be doing, again, I want to push that towards productivity. You'll be a lot more productive with an S22 Ultra as opposed to this. However, if you do edit your videos on an iPhone, or if you have tasks that require for you to just have as much power, as much raw power as possible, then the iPhone all day, obviously. But my take is I would go with this one, especially when you consider something like the S Pen, right? The Samsung S Pen that comes with the Galaxy S22 Ultra here, and it is super useful. And I'm not going to dwell on that too much because obviously the iPhone 13 Pro Max does not support an Apple Pencil or, you know, a stylus. But anyway, so it's just worth mentioning that the S Pen, the Samsung S Pen here, it really is meant to make your productivity even better, right? So it's going to make you a lot more productive than you would without it in some cases. The iPhone is going to be supported for 5 years versus the S22 Ultra that's going to be supported for 4 years, but then you get security updates at up to 5 years of support. Now, when it comes down to just battery life, obviously the iPhone 13 Pro Max here has been holding that crown for a very long time. Don't get me wrong, the S22 Ultra has fantastic battery, but it just cannot beat the 13 Pro Max when it comes down to battery life. Here's my take. The S22 Ultra is, in my opinion, the better phone, simply because it can do so much. It is so versatile as opposed to the iPhone 13 Pro Max here. Don't get me wrong, the iPhone 13 Pro Max here obviously is a king of phones, right? It's a fantastic phone. You could do so many things with it, except the S22 Ultra allows you to do much more when it comes down to productivity specifically. So if you are out there looking for something that is flagship, but that is also something leaning more towards productivity, the S22 Ultra would be the one to go for. But if you're just looking for something with raw power, obviously the iPhone 13 Pro Max would be the way to go. Also, if you are trying to buy either one of these two phones and you want something to kind of just fit in the ecosystem that you're working with, obviously you should go for the iPhone 13 Pro Max if you already own another Apple device, right? So that you can kind of just lay or sit in that within that ecosystem. Same with this one. If you already have an Android, tablet or an Android computer or just a PC, obviously you should go for the S22 so that you can just get that continuous flow going in that ecosystem. But anyway, that's just my take on these two phones here. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own either one of these two? Let me know what your take is on these two in the comment section. I'm going to catch you in the comment section. I'm also going to catch you in the next video, of course. As always, if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit both the like and subscribe button. I'm going to catch you in the next video, and up until the next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.